Phoenix, July 10th, 2025. The intensity of professional basketball is never in question. Players sacrifice their bodies, push through pain, and compete with fire every time they step onto the court. But even within the accepted chaos of competition, there are boundaries, lines not meant to be crossed, especially when it comes to player safety. Last night, those lines were tested, and Phoenix Mercury guard Sophie Cunningham had a clear message for league officials. Enough is enough. In a highly anticipated matchup between the Phoenix Mercury and the Las Vegas Valkyries, emotions ran high. Both teams entered the game with playoff implications on the line, but what unfolded on the court quickly turned the spotlight away from basketball and toward a growing concern: player protection, especially in the face of repeated physical targeting. From the opening tip-off, it was clear that this game would be a battle. The Valkyries, known for their physical defense and aggressive play style, came out with high energy. But as the minutes ticked by, observers and fans alike noticed a pattern. Sophie Cunningham, the Mercury's fiery leader and versatile guard, was absorbing more than her fair share of contact. And not just incidental bumps in transition, these were hard, targeted hits, almost all coming from the same Valkyries defender. By the time the first half had ended, Cunningham had been on the receiving end of 3 separate aggressive fouls, all from the same opponent. Each time, she hit the floor, and each time, she picked herself back up, jaw set, determined not to let it affect her rhythm. But even her resilience had its limits. Repeated hits raise eyebrows. The first hit came just 3 minutes into the game, during a fast break. Cunningham, pushing the pace after a steal, was cut off midair by the Valkyries' defender. The contact sent her crashing to the floor, and though the foul was called, the reaction from the Mercury bench was immediate. Coaches and players jumped up, calling for flagrant review. No upgrade came. Later in the second quarter, another hit came as Cunningham attempted to drive through a screen. As she rounded the pick, the same defender leaned in with a lowered shoulder, sending her off balance. Again, a foul was called. Again, no upgrade. The final hit of the half was the most egregious. Cunningham was coming off a curl for a catch-and-shoot opportunity when she was body-checked to the hardwood before she even had the ball. The crowd at Footprint Center erupted in boos, and Mercury head coach Nate Tibbetts was livid, drawing a technical foul for arguing with the officials. Still, the referees declined to escalate the foul to a flagrant or issue a warning to the opposing player. And that's when Cunningham decided to speak in her own way. A statement made without words. Cunningham is not new to physical play. In fact, she thrives in it. Known around the league for her toughness, grit, and refusal to back down, she's built a reputation as someone who gives just as much as she gets. But last night it was different. Returning in the second half, Cunningham carried herself with a visible sense of defiance. She didn't lash out. She didn't retaliate with dirty plays. Instead, she did what she does best. She played harder. She knocked down threes with defenders draped on her. She battled through screens. She attacked the paint without fear. Every possession became a statement. Late in the fourth quarter, after yet another hard foul that went largely unnoticed by the whistle, Cunningham stood up, turned to the sideline, and clapped 3 deliberate, slow claps. It wasn't sarcastic, it was pointed. A gesture meant for the officiating crew. A message: I see what's happening and so should you. On the next possession, she drove again, took a bump, and laid it in. She turned to the crowd, flexed her arms, and let out a roar. The arena erupted. This wasn't just a player scoring a basket, it was a leader putting the league on notice. Post-game silence speaks volumes. After the final buzzer, Cunningham did not address the media directly. When asked for comment, she simply said, "You all saw it," before walking away. It wasn't avoidance, it was control. She knew that the footage would speak louder than any words she could offer. Still, her teammates had plenty to say. Mercury forward Kalia Copper, who had 21 points and 9 rebounds in the game, stood up for Cunningham post-game. "Sophie's one of the toughest people I've ever played with. But tough doesn't mean invincible. You can't keep targeting someone and expect them not to eventually send a message." Tibbetts echoed that sentiment, saying, "We're going to protect our players."
period.
This league talks a lot about player safety. It's time we see it in force. Even veteran center Brittany Griner, watching from the bench due to injury, chimed in via social media shortly after the game, posting, "If it was the other way around, it's a flagrant. Let's be real." A larger conversation begins. Cunningham's experience on the court last night has reignited a larger conversation in the WNBA. How physical is too physical, and are certain players given more leeway than others when it comes to enforcement of rules? The WNBA prides itself on being a league where toughness is celebrated. But even in a tough league, there must be accountability. Fans, players, and analysts took to social media in droves following the game, pointing out the inconsistencies in foul calls and questioning why the repeated fouls against Cunningham didn't result in harsher penalties. Some brought up the optics of the situation, suggesting that Cunningham, a known emotional and competitive player, is unfairly typecast as someone who can handle it, leading officials to downplay the severity of the fouls against her. Others called for the league to review the game and consider retroactive action, such as fines or suspensions. Cunningham herself didn't call for punishment, but her body language throughout the game, and especially in the second half, made it clear that she had reached her limit. League yet to respond. As of Wednesday morning, the WNBA has not issued a statement regarding the incident, and it remains unclear whether any retroactive reviews will take place. League policy allows for post-game reviews of plays that may have been missed or misjudged, but such reviews typically occur quietly, without public comment unless a suspension or a fine is issued. Still, the league will likely feel pressure to address what many are calling a missed opportunity to protect one of its rising stars. Cunningham, now in her 6th WNBA season, has blossomed into a cornerstone for the Mercury. Known not only for her defense and shot-making but also for her leadership and connection with the fanbase, she represents the competitive heart of the team. Her willingness to play through pain is admirable. But the burden of player safety should not fall solely on the shoulders of the players. What comes next? The Mercury are expected to file a formal complaint with the league, requesting that the officiating during Tuesday's game be reviewed. The team has not confirmed this publicly, but sources close to the organization have indicated that they will push for clarity and accountability. Whether or not the league responds with penalties remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Sophie Cunningham's performance last night was more than a stat line. It was a message, and that message has been heard. Fans rally behind Cunningham. In the hours after the game, fans flooded social media with support for Cunningham, trending the hashtag #ProtectSophie. Clips of the repeated fouls quickly went viral, with many users tagging WNBA officials and demanding answers. Memes and videos highlighting her toughness, defiant claps, and post-basket celebrations circulated widely, cementing the night as one of the most talked about in recent league history. Even players from other teams chimed in. One guard from a rival team tweeted, "We all play hard, but there's a line. Sophie didn't deserve that treatment." The Mercury, long known for having one of the most passionate fan bases in the league, have thrown their full support behind their player. Cunningham jerseys were already a popular item, but team officials reported a noticeable spike in online orders within 24 hours of the game. Final thoughts. There's a fine line in professional basketball between intensity and unnecessary roughness. Sophie Cunningham has always lived on that edge, but she's never crossed it. Tuesday night wasn't about a player crying foul. It was about a competitor standing her ground. Whether or not the league decides to act, the moment has already resonated. Cunningham didn't need to start a fight. She didn't have to retaliate. She just had to play her game, make her point, and let the basketball and the bruises do the talking. And in doing so, she sent a signal that was as powerful as any whistle.